And so during this webinar, Ahmed, who will introduce himself in a moment, is going to walk through how to build an agent with Agentforce, which is one of the more accessible and easy to do things out there with AI. So Ahmed, if you could take a moment to introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed. I'm a solutions engineer at AMC. I'm happy to have you all today, and I'm very excited to show you many interesting things and how to build a service agent in Agentforce.
Awesome. So Ahmed, if you could bring us to our agenda, please. So real quick, we're just going to talk a little bit about generative AI. What is it? We'll talk a little bit about the Agentforce builder and DaVinci. Then we're going to touch on our data security and some best practices around that and how that relates to AI. And then we're going to throw it to what it is that you all are here to look at, which is the live demo ran by Ahmed. If you guys have any questions, I posted this in the chat, but if you have any questions while we're going along, feel free to post them in the chat. There are some folks from AMC in here and myself who are going to be keeping tabs on the chat, and we'll be sure to answer all the questions that we can. If we don't know the answer to a question, we'll be sure to at least acknowledge it, and we will follow up with you as soon as we can get an answer to your question. Okay? So to start, how does generative AI work? You can't really turn on the TV these days without having somebody somewhere talking about AI, whether it's a commercial or you turn on CNBC and Jim Cramer's yelling at you about AI and how it affects the stock market and all that fun stuff. We can't really run away from it. But what exactly does it mean and how does it work? So I like to look at this the same way that my English teacher in 6th grade liked to look at building an essay, right? Not really a 5-paragraph essay, but we're going to go with 3 paragraphs here, right? So you've got to start with a prompt. You've got to build what it is that you're trying to ask the AI. So in this instance, we're going with a prompt of, I ordered the wrong color decorations for my party. Can they be returned? Now, the large language model, which is what all of these AI tools that we're looking at are built upon. Now, there are different ones, of course, but we'll just use a basic LLM terminology here. It will connect to what it is that it has been trained upon and what it is being pointed to gather the data. So you could build an agent who's only pointed at internal knowledge articles for your company, or you could build an agent that's only pointed at, I don't know, baseball reference. So if you want to just ask it a ton of questions about your favorite baseball player, it would be able to return to you answers in that vein. But like ChatGPT, Copilot, Agentforce, you can point all of these things at just a general knowledge base that has been trained upon, or you can sort of narrow these things down. So in this instance, after I ask the question, it would connect to the parameters that have been set to figure out what it is that you're asking, and then it will reply in a human-like way, pulling from the information that it's been trained upon. So in this instance, the answer is going to be, our return policy typically allows returns on unopened, unused items within 30 days of purchase, but seasonal and clearance items may be final sale. What's interesting about this is that we've all had some sort of interaction with chatbots one way or another. Even, as long back as like 10 years ago, even more than that is when you could interact with a chatbot if you'd like. What makes this so much different is that what the question that I asked is I ordered the wrong decorations, can they be returned? It did not give me a yes or no answer. It told me what the policy was, why I may be able to return them, and why I might not be able to return them, depending on what it is that I purchased. And that's something that you're really not going to be able to get with just your standard chatbot that we've had access to long before these large language models became as popular as they are now. So awesome. Any questions about that before we move forward to learning a little bit more about Agentforce? Okay. So what is Agentforce? Agentforce is Salesforce's AI platform. They've designed this to, specifically work with and for customer service agents and businesses that rely on, providing excellent customer service and intercepting a lot of questions and things of that nature from their customers. So how does it differ from Copilot? Well, that's not really why Copilot was built, right? Copilot does a ton of really cool stuff. It's an incredible platform. Haroon did a webinar about, Haroon, one of our solution engineers, did a webinar a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, about how to build an agent in Copilot. And that was a lot of fun. But Agentforce was really designed to do this task, to provide customer support. And so you can change how it replies based on the topics that it is that you're giving it. It sticks pretty strictly to the instructions that you're giving it. And similar to Copilot, but something that they're really trying to market is that it's a web agent, yes, but you're also going to be able to make it into a voice agent. And I think we're going to hear a little bit more about that from Salesforce later this year, maybe sometime in the fall or something like that. So you're going to be able to call into a place, and instead of a normal auto attendant, you'd actually be able to talk to Agentforce. And if you need to escalate to a real agent, you'd be given that opportunity, but it would be able to handle a lot of the questions that a customer is asking it. So that's a little bit about how it's different from Copilot. What's up next, Ahmed? Is it secure? This is obviously a question that everybody has top of mind when they're talking about AI, right? With a lot of the customers that I'm talking to, that our new business folks are talking to, and Susanna, my the other CSM here at AMC, everybody has questions about security. What's important to know is that Agentforce is a Salesforce product. The Salesforce has pretty excellent security, and they have their own SLAs and things that they adhere to. Here we mentioned that it's powered by Einstein and the Einstein Trust Layer. You can learn more from Salesforce about their security, but suffice it to say, they do an incredible job. And here from DaVinci, we also spend a lot of time around security. We do offer that day one data protection. We never are holding on to your data. We serve as something that passes the data to your CRM from your voice channel or whatever channel it is that you're looking to integrate. We never hold on to your data. Your data is yours and yours alone. So, like this says, we do have some pretty robust security measures. As far as compliance go, we have finished SOC 2 certification, and we are also GDPR and HIPAA certified. So things are pretty good on the security front. If you have any other security related questions, feel free to let us know, and we'd be happy to get you some more specific answers around your security related questions. So any questions about any of these slides that I have gone over so far? No. Okay. So Ahmed, are you going over this slide, or would you like me to as well?
I can go over this slide.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to hand it off to Ahmed here, and he's going to walk you through the nitty-gritty of building the agent, speak to you a little bit more about the important terminology and how it all works, and then he's going to go ahead and share his screen and actually show us this in action. So again, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat, and we will be sure to get them answered for you.
Thank you, David, for telling us about the security perspective. We will now be talking about the 5 attributes of an agent. So there are 5 attributes of an agent. The first attribute we're talking about is the role, which is what job should they do. And this can be configured when you're first creating an agent from the service agent builder interface. The second attribute we're going to talk about is the data, which is what knowledge can they access. You can access data from 2 sources. It can either be from Data Cloud or from Salesforce objects. And the third attribute we're going to talk about is actions. And actions define what capabilities the agent should have. And the fourth attribute we're going to talk about is guardrails and what shouldn't they do. And this can be configured by writing instructions that adjust the behavior of the service agent. For example, if you want to hide the ID and you don't want to ever reveal it to the user because it's confidential, then you can write an instruction to adjust the service agent to never show the ID. And I think from my experience, it's been doing a great job at that. And the first attribute we're going to talk about is where do they work? And pretty much you can deploy the service agent to a channel which you can um, attach to a site and provide an interface for the user to interact with your service agent. And now we're going to be talking about the fundamental building blocks of Agentforce.
So Ahmed, just 1 second. We did get a question in the chat, and I want to make sure we answer it because I'm sure it's top of mind.
Okay.
Nilesh is asking, how does Agentforce and DaVinci integrate? So that's a very good question. Right now, we do have a listing on App Exchange for this, and we are building a DaVinci app for Agentforce. And right now, that use case is around authentication. And so it would help Salesforce customers to automate authentication during calls by triggering some background agents to verify customer identity. And then it would share that information with the human agents. So that's just one use case right now. But as we continue to work with our customers, current and new, we're going to discover more use cases. We don't like to pretend that we know exactly what and how everybody's going to use some of this really powerful stuff. And so we learn a lot from our customers. And so as we learn more about the potential use cases that our customers have, we will continue to build out the DaVinci app for Agentforce, DaVinci app for Copilot, all that fun stuff. So that's what we're doing right now with the DaVinci app for Agentforce, work around making it easier to authenticate who it is that you're speaking to.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ahmed. Thank you.
Now we're going to be talking about the fundamental building blocks of Agentforce. And those are topics, instructions, and actions. A topic defines the job that needs to be done by the service agent. For example, you can have a topic for case management, or a topic for profile management, or a topic for Q&A, which we are going to be showing you in the demo today. And then we have instructions, which adjust the behavior of the agent and providing it with steps on what to do when a certain topic is addressed. And then we have actions, which are a series of steps that are taken by the service agent in order for it to execute a certain task. And now we're going to go over the Agentforce architecture. First, we would create a service agent, and this is done from the agent builder interface. And then we would have topics, and as I've said earlier, we're going to have a topic for case management, a topic for profile management, and a topic for Q&A. And under each topic, we're going to have instructions and actions. For example, for the case management topic, we're going to have an action that creates a case, and we're going to have instructions that adjust the behavior of the agent and makes the user experience more friendly. And when you're creating an action can be one of three types. It can be a flow, a prompt builder, or an apex. And this in today's demo, we're going to have flow types of actions. And let's get into it. And before I start, were there any questions about topics, instructions, and actions?
There aren't any in the chat right now, Ahmed, so I think you're good to go. If any pop up, I'll interrupt you again, and we'll get an answer.
Sounds great. So to start, we would need a Salesforce org that would have the appropriate licenses that are needed to use Agentforce. And if you don't have one, that's okay. Salesforce provides a trailhead that allows you to generate orgs that have the appropriate licenses, so you can experiment and test for as much as you want on the org. But keep in mind, these orgs last for 6 months. So after 6 months, you would probably have to create another one for your own experimentation. And once we have the org, we're going to make sure that the right settings are configured and turned on. So in the quick setup, I'm going to search for Einstein setup. And I'm going to make sure that the turn on Einstein toggle is on, which I already have it. And the next setting that needs to be turned on is Agentforce. So I'm going to type in agents in the quick setup. And I'm going to make sure that we have the Agentforce toggle on. And from here, we can click on new agent and with the plus sign to create a new agent. And I'm going to select the agent type as an Agentforce service agent. And those are topics that are predefined and already built by Salesforce. We have case management, account management, and a few other topics. In today's demo, we're only going to be using case management as a pre-built topic, and we're going to be removing all the other topics because we're not going to need them. So for the defined settings, we're going to give it a name. I'm going to name it Oscar Party Service Agent. And I'm going to put demo in parentheses just in case. I've already created one. And for the description, pretty much you want to provide an explanation of what your agent does. And since this is a short demo and to save us a lot of time, I'm going to be copying and pasting the description for the sake of time.
So a question, Ahmed,
Mhm.
do you find that there's a better or there's a way to get the most out of building these agents when it comes to the description? Is there a way that you try and craft some of this stuff so that you are getting more consistent answers from the bot?
Yeah, so for the description, um, it doesn't have much impact. It's pretty much for another person that would work or configure your agent or adjust anything. They can take a look at the description and see what it does. But if you want to get the best experience out of your service agent, this would be for the role, company, and adding instructions. And
Perfect.
those are configured by writing prompts, just like how, for example, you would talk to ChatGPT. The more details and the more instructions you provide to ChatGPT, the better the answer it is going to provide you. So I would say writing the best prompts that are more clear and show the most details would be the most beneficial in this case.
Awesome. Thank you.
And for the role, it is pretty much telling the service agent what its job is and what it should do. And I'm going to be providing it with a role to answer Oscar-related questions and handling customer service tasks like processing returns and creating cases. And for the company, you want to provide it with details on what the company does, so it can understand what its company does, and it can provide and tailor its best answers to the user. And for the agent user, we are going to select Einstein Service Agent User, and we want to have a user that has the appropriate permission sets, and this user has a permission set that allows them to make use of service agents in Agentforce. And we're going to click next. And for the data, since we are not using data cloud and we're going to be extracting our data from Salesforce objects, we don't really need to do anything here. I'm going to click on create. And I'm going to remove the topics that we are not using, which are account management, delivery issues, escalation, and I'm going to only leave case management because that's the only one we're going to be using out of the predefined ones. And once we have the only topic that we need out of the predefined ones, I'm going to create a new topic. I'm going to click on plus new topic, and I'm going to name it Q&A. And this is going to be the topic responsible for answering frequently asked questions. And I'm going to provide it with a description and a scope. And the scope is pretty much telling the service agent what this specific topic is responsible for and what it should do when this specific topic is addressed. And for the instruction, I'm going to say when the user asks a question related to Hollywood, run the action get FAQ and return the results to the user. And I'm going to click next. And for the actions, I've created an action called get FAQ, which I'm going to select and add to this topic. And I'm going to create another topic, which is going to be profile management. And again, I'm going to provide it with a description, a scope, and an instruction. And this instruction would make sure to return profile information when the user would ask for it. I'm going to click next, and I'm going to select the get contact action, which I've also created. I'm going to click finish, and for the case management topic, I'm going to make slight adjustments in order to get the best experience for our case. So I am going to click on new version. I'm going to add 2 instructions. And these instructions are going to make sure to, this one is going to make sure to verify the user's identity before creating a case. And this one is going to be responsible for making sure to not ask for the identity verification more than once in order to have the best user experience. And I'm going to click save. And I'm going to remove the older case management version since we don't need it.
And so you have to do some of this stuff, Ahmed, because this is like a trail force or trailhead org, and so some of this stuff was already put in there to aid folks in the building of an agent, correct?
Yeah, I agree. You would have to create your own actions. However, there are actions that are already predefined and pre-built by Salesforce, and you can use those actions if those actions are not providing you with, or they're not providing you with the best experience for your use cases. You can create your own actions that are custom made, and you can tailor them to the best experience for your own use cases.
Excellent.
And for case management, I'm going to add Um, oh, not create. I'm going to add an action called create case. And this action is already pre-built by Salesforce. So you can also use this one if you would like. And I'm going to add another action, which is get contact. I've already used this one before, but this one is going to be to make sure to verify the identity before running create case. And once we have this set up, I'm going to click on activate. And when you activate or make changes, you would have to reset the conversation to make sure it is up to date. And now we are going to test the topics that we have created. So, David, is there anything about Hollywood that you would like to know, or could you ask us a few questions to test this?
Yeah, certainly. Could you ask if anybody can visit the Hollywood sign?
Yep, surely. Can anyone visit the Hollywood sign? So it says, while you cannot hike directly up to the Hollywood sign, there are several illegal hiking trails, such as the Griffith Observatory Trail
Observatory Trail? Yeah.
and the Brush Canyon Trail that offer great views of the sign. So let's ask another question before we move on to the next two topics. David, do you have another question to ask?
Why can Good Will Hunting not win Best Picture every single year? That probably won't be able to answer that. What is the Hollywood Walk of Fame? I think that's a pretty good question.
I think it is a pretty good question. What is the Hollywood Walk of Fame? So it says the Hollywood Walk of Fame is a series of over 2,700 brass stars embedded in sidewalks along Hollywood Boulevard and Vine Street, honoring achievements in the entertainment industry, including film, television, music, radio, and theater. So as we can
Awesome.
see, it's been answering questions that are frequently asked about Hollywood. Now we're going to proceed to test the next two topics. So for this time, let's test case management. So we have a scenario where I'm hosting an Oscar party and I've ordered the wrong decoration items, and I would like to create a case to get help with my problem. So I'm going to provide it with a prompt. I've ordered the wrong decoration items for my Oscar party. I would like to open a case. And it's going to ask me for my email. And as we can see here, it has selected the case management topic since we are addressing an issue and we want to create a case. If we go to the previous topics, when we were asking questions, it says it has selected the Q&A topic and it has ran the get FAQ. It took the question as an input and it provided the answer as an output. This is a really good feature about Agent Builder because it shows you what happens in the background, and if there are any issues, you can always check it out and troubleshoot to find where the problem is coming from and fix it. So in this case, I'm going to provide it with an email that I've already populated, which is textuser@example.com. And it's going to take a second. And after I've given it the email, it says, I've created a case for you. Here are the details. We have a case number, we have the subject, and we have the description. And the status says that it's new. So let's check it out and make sure that it has actually created the case. We're going to go to all open cases. I'm going to refresh. And as we can see, there is a new case that has been created with today's date. and it looks like it has the right subject. If we look at the description, the user has ordered the wrong decoration items for their party and would like to open a case to resolve this issue. So that covers the second topic, and it looks like it did a great job. We're going to resume the demo. So here, as I was saying earlier, it has created a case with the correct subject and description, and this covers the second topic. So to proceed, I'm going to test the third topic, and I'm going to ask it to retrieve my profile. And it has provided me with the information that it is recorded under my profile. We have an email and a mobile phone. And as we can see here, it has selected the profile management topic and has ran the get contact action. And I think that covers all three topics. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to the next part of the demo?
No questions here. Just people saying that it's my fault that I couldn't hear you. So I think we're
Okay.
good.
All right, sounds great. And we're going to move on to the next part. So for this part, we're going to go through the steps that are necessary to provide the user with an interface where they can interact with the service agent and get help with the tasks that they would need. So first, we are going to search for embedded service deployments. And since this is a short demo and we don't have much time, I've already created this. But I'm going to show you how it's done. You would click on new deployment. In this case, we already have one that is created. After you create a new deployment, we're going to search for flows, and you want to make sure to have an omni-channel flow that you would attach your service agent to. And in this case, I have one that is called route to ESA. And you want to make sure to attach this service agent to this flow. So we're going to click on route to ESA, and we're gonna make sure that it routes to an Agentforce service agent. And we're going to select whatever you have named your service agent. And in this case, it's Oscar Party Service Agent. And once you have this flow, we're going to create a site. So you want to search for site and click on all sites. And once you have that, you would click on new and create a new site, and then you can access the builder. And from this builder, you can upload an image. You can make a lot of adjustments, but since I kept it simple, I've only added an image, and I've added the messaging icon on the bottom right corner that we can see. And from this icon, the user can access the service agent and interact with it. So if you want to see what it looks like from the user's perspective, we would click on this icon and click on View Oscar Party, which is the name of the site. And once it finishes loading, we're going to click on the icon at the bottom right corner. It's going to take a second to load. And once it is ready, we can see that the Oscar Party service agent has joined, and it's going to have a welcome message that you can also adjust to however you want to have it. And if you interact with it and ask it questions and interact with it like how we have done in the agent builder, you should receive the same results, and it should help the users with what they need. So that's what we have for the demo. If you have any questions or if there's anything that you'd like to go over, please drop them in the chat, and me and David are going to try our best to answer your questions.
And I'm going to go ahead and share the Trailhead link in the chat, right, Ahmed?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So if you guys want to play around with this and do some of the stuff that Ahmed just showed, then if you follow this link, Salesforce will walk you through how to do this. So it's really fun. It's really accessible. Don't have to be an engineer to do this stuff. I'm even capable of doing it, which is quite cool. So, all right, Ahmed and I will hang around a little bit longer if anybody has any questions, but thank you guys very much for joining, and we look forward to seeing and hearing from you all soon, and hopefully next time.